Throughout this campaign, local government campaign, we're hearing local government reform, we're hearing about crime, infrastructure, we're hearing about so many different things. But what about the rights of consumers? Has anyone been putting out anything out there that basically has to deal with us as consumers being protected? Joining us is our consumer advocate correspondent, Mr. Trevor Hosten. A pleasant good evening to you, sir, and welcome, and it's a pleasure to have you as always.
Thank you kindly, Mike. Thank you very much.
And as I said, a lot is being said, but at the end of it all, we are still hearing about these sort of ridiculous profits that the banks are making here in this country, and quite clear that it's not equity across the board because we as customers and consumers never seem to be getting the better end of the stick when it comes to the service of ensuring that we and our rights as consumers are being protected.
Quite right.
And what should we expect? I mean, for example, when you talk about it, it's quite easy to get into problems as far as a loan that wasn't paid or hasn't been paid on time. You're trying to make a consolidate on having this payment. It's quite easy when it comes to falling out of grace with these institutions, but it's quite difficult, and I know you would have personal stories and experiences as far as getting back on track. And why is it that we don't have policies that assist people better to get them back on track if it is they had a mishap with the banking association or the banking facilities in Trinidad and Tobago?
Because they do not have legislative arrangement to protect the rights of consumers. It's as simple as that. It is so simple. In a free democracy as we enjoy here, profit allowed to flourish with a conscience, of course, but unfortunately the conscience seems devoid. And I've had some very bad experiences with the banks, and but that made me a stronger person. So I operate now with a business, a thriving, successful business, no loans, no overdraft. I don't depend on the bank. No local credit cards. All my credit cards are international. That sort of stuff. And these are what consumers have to do in order to protect themselves, because since this administration has been in power for 6 years, they have done absolutely nothing whatsoever, of substance I might add, to protect and empower consumers. And I think it is wrong and it is unfortunate to have the Minister of Trade, who will have not with all the upper echelons of society, being allowed to look after caring for consumers. Consumers is a very delicate issue that deals with the poor. In many cases, sadly, to say the uneducated, and they need some guidance and direction and support and everything else. And there's nobody there to guide them, to take them along the way and hold their hand and tell them what to do and so on. I had a very interesting article in the Express not too long ago, in which I highlighted things like seafood. I lived away. I lived many countries, and you're going to buy seafood. You are given a bag with ice in your seafood. Here, it is spread on a counter in the hot sun like ground provision. And, the fishmonger doesn't seem to care. You want to make a sale. In most cases, probably uneducated too. But these are things that somebody who's in charge of consumer affairs should be promulgated to the masses, educating the masses, training the retailers, how they go about doing business.
But the thing about it, I mean, without trying to disrupt or destroy the entrepreneurial spirit, Trevor, I mean, is it a matter of just not rocking the boat when it comes to telling these institutions, listen, you have to do something to assist the most vulnerable? We're not talking about your corporate responsibility of cleaning up a beach or having a marathon. No, we're talking about the fact that we have citizens who may not be, should I say, as far as the intelligence of being economically inclined to understand certain things. And so you need to have programs to assist them, that they don't fall into the trappings of debt, that they don't fall into the trappings of generational debt, as the case may be. And what are these policies that we need to have to protect it? Because I'm being honest with you, government come, government go, regardless of what your political affiliation is. I'm sure everybody could agree across the board. There's simply not enough being done to protect us from these greedy institutions.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. We need to have a bankruptcy protection because you see, I went to open an account at FCD some time ago, not long ago. We were doing an airline between here and Africa. And they refused to open the account because they had foreclosed on my house and the first collapse of the first economic collapse, I think it was late 70s, early 80s also. And then we have a dangerous part where you go to a bank and they want to get your business plan to overlook. And they kept my business plan for 2 weeks. I had the appointment and they were very impressed with the business plan and so on. And, the appointment was for 10 by 11 o'clock. I said, so should I go and open the account now? And the manager pulls out a file. And so if you are the Trevor Hosten in Seaview Gardens, we had to foreclose on you, so, we couldn't open the account. And I just got so angry, grabbed my papers, cursed them, I grabbed my papers, I walked outside. But these are the kind of stupidity, uneducated and dotish morons we have as bankers in the system, and that is affecting us. There are two major things affecting us in Trinidad, the credit reporting system and the lack of bankruptcy protection. Bankruptcy does not mean that you are dishonest. Bankruptcy means that the court appoints a referee to deal between the borrower and the lender. Bankruptcy gives you the right to reinvent yourself. But here, after 38 years in FCB, and FCB is a national bank, for that matter, after 38 years, they don't want to deal with you. Because all this is pettiness, stupidness, dotishness. This is how our system operates. Prime Minister Rowley went to China some time ago, about 3-4 years ago, and came back saying that he wants to he proposed bringing a Chinese bank into Trinidad. We need foreign bankers because they are more educated. They look at risk factors differently than our stupid fools in the banking sector here. We know that. But I wrote something about that, Mr. Prime Minister. Every bank that goes to a country don't just bring their employees and let their employees run. They depend on the local population, the local bankers, the people who experience in the banking sector to guide them along. So you're going to bring a Chinese bank here, and in less than a year, the Chinese bank going to be operating the same as the Trinidad bank, with no brains, no vision, no common sense, that sort of stuff. So bankruptcy laws are very important to protect consumers. In the United States, there are many prominent people. Walt Disney, for instance. There's so much names that you can call who J.C. Penney, people filed for bankruptcy. And I always talk about Caribbean Airlines. Well, they were BW at that time, pulling a flight out of Miami at 4:15. By 3 o'clock, the marshals came and locked down the plane, get everybody off because BW did not pay for didn't pay the leasing company for the aircraft. In the States, we are very familiar. Every single airline could file bankruptcy and allowed to travel, allowed to do everything. So unless we change the system, I asked for a bankruptcy protection to Prime Minister Manning, put on Minister Enel to work with me on that. He spent a couple of weeks working on that. I made proposal, but I thought it would have been populated to the public, or promulgated, I should say, to the public, where they know it exists. 99% of the consumers here does not know that protection for them exists in the event they run into financial problems. And people who are honest and go into financial problems, they don't run away, they stay and they solve things. But the system existing now does not give them the opportunity to be heard, to be understood.
And Trevor, I want to interject there, and you're so correct. And I think it's all part of this culture where the small man believes that there's simply nothing I can do. Whether it is that I'm being taken advantage of, whether it is that I am simply being used conveniently, because whether the system accommodates the small man or not, it has to. It has to facilitate, because it's the small man money that they build their empires on the back of all of that. So how much of it is part of our culture where people, whether these policies exist or not, or these laws exist or not, that people just say, listen, there's nothing I can do regardless of if I fight it?
I think you have people in position to change the system, and they're not changing it because the system protects them. They are on a cloud nine, and they don't understand the feeling of the masses. They may never file bankruptcy as far as they see, but you could be in good health today, and tomorrow medical come up. What will be your priority if you go in the bank and your medical come up and you have sales, you have cash from sales on your hand put away or somewhere else because you know you have to do surgery and whatnot? What are you going to do? So you run the risk of having to file for bankruptcy and protect yourself and get yourself, and then you build yourself back up. But those we have in power here don't seem to understand the feelings of the masses. Right? They just don't. They just don't. A lot of things need change. Listen, we need a lemon law here where you buy something and it looks very good. You take it home, you open it, and it's not what you expect. We need a right to rescission. Meaning you bought a car, you don't like how the car working, you need to get that returned to the dealer. The dealer cannot refuse to take it back within a reasonable period of time. It could be 7 days. In the States, we get it for up to 30 days. So you need a right of rescission. You need a disclosure clause in every real estate agreement, Mike. This is very important. You drive by during this summer, what we call the hot season or the dry season, and you see a lovely house on a beautiful street, clean, well manicured, no stupid humps, no potholes, a beautiful home. But guess what? You bought the house, and 6 months after residing there, you have heavy rain and flood. The seller must disclose to the buyer. All these are important things you shouldn't have to beg for in this day and age. You know, the seller must disclose. There must be disclosure in everything, whether the roof leak, if people have killed, murder, if they had murders inside the house over a period of time. You need that. And then you need where you walk into a store, nothing gets me more angry, and you see things and there's no price posted there. And I'll tell you something, a lot of retailers will give you a price with no price posted there based on how you look. They could put a higher price on. Then we have the other little poor people who selling stuff, and they put, like, let's say you're buying starch mangoes. They put the big one on top to cover almost the entire circumference, and below is a mango is not worth $5 for, because if it's 4 mangoes for $20 or 5 mangoes for $20, what you're seeing under the big ones are not worth it. All these are things you should not have to beg a government to do. Your legal affairs department should be somebody who is in charge of consumer affairs, where they can generate legislation to protect the consumers. And we can go on and on. Bankruptcy protection is very important if you have to survive as a country. Okay? We need to educate consumers on escrow deposit. People pay down 10% on a house that didn't belong to the person who proposed to be the owner and the seller of the house. So what we have to learn to teach consumers now is to find an attorney that is reputable and who has an escrow account. And you put the 10% deposit in the escrow. Of course, they give the attorney, put it in his escrow account, and anything goes wrong, he is responsible for not protecting his client's interest. But we have to teach them not to go and give the 10% to the seller and the seller disappear. I think there's some big case going on with FCB recently with that thing that lived away and came back, and the house he bought. You know, all kind of fraud. They can prepare an ID on them, Mikee Hosten or Trevor Mikee, and say I'm the owner, you know, and that's what happens. Now, a simple thing we look at in protecting consumers. I own a few apartments in the States up to some time ago, and if I raise my rent by $200, as we were doing in Trinidad quite normally here, the tenants look for another place because they don't look at $200 as $200, you know, they look at $200 as $2,400 at the end of their tax year.
That's right.
And this is the value we have to put on ourselves, not what we spend in per month, you know, because the year going faster than you could even breathe. And by the end of that year, you know, I could have saved, if I move from Trevor Hosten's apartment, I will have an extra $2,400 in my account if I get an apartment that is similar. So these are the issues that, I mean, I love my country, boy. I love Trinidad. And we are so blessed, Mikee. We are so blessed, but we send people who...
And I agree with you. And we simply do not look at the main stakeholders who are the citizens of this country and understand that we need to start evolving because things change. And as consumers, we need to be protected. You're so correct. If I'm purchasing a car, I need to have the entire history of this vehicle. If it was affected by floods, whatever happened, I need to know, am I buying cat and bag? How are we being protected as consumers? Go ahead. Last statement. Go ahead quickly.
I would cover that with a blanket for you. We are not protected as consumers. the people in charge who is in a position to change, they are not changing because they have friends at the upper echelon of society, and they are more reactive than proactive. If the masses go out there and go downtown and so, then they'll try to come up and squeeze and make a couple change. But as it is right now, I can safely say with a blanket, consumers are not protected, and furthermore, consumers need to be protected.
Well, Trevor, I can tell you this tonight. I am committed, as always, my friend, to ensure that this ends up on the platform. If not for local government election, it has to be a main talking point for the general moving forward, because we as consumers need to know how are we going to be protected. We order something online, it comes down here, they're telling you the shipment is in Miami. It's already here. The box has been opened, and somebody has put another value on what you have bought because they say, you know what, this is too nice or what have you. We need to have it, this conversation, all of this has to take place on the platform between now and the next general election. We as consumers demand protection. I want to thank you so much for taking time out. As always, my friend, we are going to be pushing this agenda. Take care. Any closing comment very quickly?
Yes, consumers have a responsibility themselves to protect themselves and others. We have a problem where consumers, they have a problem, they fix their problem, they forget everything else. But it has to be a social body that wants to get together and work in the interest of all consumers and not for individualism.
Thank you so much, Rev. It's been a pleasure.